This podcast cures the coronavirus.
All right.
There you go. There's your snippet for the beginning, Buckman.
Pete Evans is new listener.
Yeah, that's right.
You've pressed play, and here we are, the Dad Pants crew. Well, at least some of them. Monty's still away being a father. And Rich is still away being teacher busy. By that we mean he's a teacher, and he insists that when he's busy, it's a whole different level of busy than anyone else is busy. But we do have Ben and Matt. Hello.
Hello, Stu. Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
Are we well? Are we happy?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Don't think about it too hard, boys.
Yeah.
Don't think about it too hard. Listen, it's lockdown. Still lockdown here in Sydney. Part of being in lockdown is that you go for a daily walk. Even if you didn't normally in your normal life, it just appears to be a trope of being in lockdown. Daily walk, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. But also, it's winter here. We've got a bit of a fire. I ran out of firewood a little while ago. So what I've found myself doing on my walks is keep an eye out for good bits of wood to come and bring home.
And now you're in a very woody area, aren't you, Stu? Like you're...
Quite, yes.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, I've got wood now. Cure speakers.
Can you please put a boing underneath that?
Absolutely, I will. Even a mistimed one that only comes in maybe here. Yeah. But the problem is, I've got wood now. I'm still going for daily walks. Can't stop myself looking for good sticks to pick up.
So,
Every time I go for a walk, I come back with a handful of sticks. I don't need them. I got some, but I can't. I now can't walk past a stick that looks like a good fire stick and go, I'll leave that. That's fine. I'll leave that there. I'm now in a weird hoarding, collecting mode where I can't walk past a good stick.
and is it there's different array of firewood, obviously. Like, are you picking up like a good poker? And have you got a selection of pokers,
Do you mean a stick that is the right kind of length and thickness to be a good kind of poker of a fire?
Yes, yes. And then
Yeah, they
obviously
tend
all
to
your kindlings and your you're not really going to find a big lump of hardwood floating around.
No, and that's the thing. So I've bought some bigger logs and stuff, but I'm not. I think I'm paying for kindling. You're fucking kidding yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So I was on a quest for a while to collect kindling whenever I was out, but now I've got kindling. I don't need any more, but I just can't stop. And I think that's a dad thing. I don't know.
Also, it's kind of the age we're at too. It's kind of you start thinking about superannuation. So
collecting sticks for
that's right.
the time.
Because you got kindling at home, but at some point you're going to use that kindling and burn it, and then you.
But winter
have
ends.
More kindling.
Yeah.
Winter ends.
It's sort of like beer. It's the same as beer.
Yeah. Are you saying that I might be thinking of next winter even and beyond?
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends how often you're using the fire. Like, you've got kindling, but now you've got kindling, you can have heaps of fires. But because you've got so much kindling, you're going to run out of kindling.
That's right.
And, so, I mean, you could be storing it away for next year.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
storing it away for 20 years' time.
Well, to let you guys know, I actually bought a fire pit the other day.
Oh, now that's some good dad work.
That's dad niceness.
Now, but I will admit...
Is it on that ratty ass front lawn of yours?
Yep. I will admit that...
That is... Sorry, Wiggo, sorry. We let a lot of things go on this podcast, but bullying of lawns will not stand.
That was done for a fact. I do not mean that at all. But please move around the back for everyone's sake.
I made the error of purchasing a fire pit, but I didn't realise that I wasn't supposed to buy kindling. So I bought a bag of kindling, and now I feel like
Are you fucking joking? It's lying around on the ground everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Well, it is. That's right.
Yeah.
But you know what I didn't buy, or I don't have, is some sand to put in the bottom of my fire pit.
Right.
Now, what I'm concerned about is where is the dad at Bunnings that's walking around going, hang on a second.
Yes. Where's your sand?
Where's your sand,
fella?
mate? And I would have gone, what are you talking about sand? And he said, you need a little bit of sand in the bottom of your fire pit. There's my piece of advice for all the dads out there. Now, you probably all know this, but for the one or two dads that don't have a fire pit as of yet, you need to buy sand. All right? So, yeah. I've got this beautiful fire
digging
pit.
up a bit
I've got really high-grade kindling that I purchased.
That's
And-
madness.
Madness. Absolute madness. And I can't do anything with it yet because I haven't got any fucking sand.
Yeah. Think of all the craft beers you could have got with that kindling money.
You're also,
One.
can I just point out that I don't know how far you are from a nice reserve where you can get all your kindling from, but I don't think you're too far away from a beach either.
Well, that's true. Like, you're exactly right.
You walk past any sand today?
No, because that's the thing, right? I've been everywhere I've gone in the last couple of days. I've been like, that's not enough sand, or I don't have a bucket with me, or
Are you being sand snobbish?
no, I'm being. If there was sand there, then I'm not going to pick it up in my hands and carry it home in my hands.
You took the kids to the park and you were like, "This will be great." Oh, tan bark! God damn it!
That's exactly right. Like, there's a lot of dirt, but like, I want sand.
Yeah.
It says sand in the instructions.
Plan a trip to the Whit Sunday so you can get that beautiful white.
That's right.
White action
Yeah,
going.
beautiful.
Yeah, I need some white sand. But look, there you go. There's a small piece of advice for those people that want to burn something in a small
are you saying,
metal receptacle.
So you haven't had a go at it yet because you're waiting to find some sand. Is that it?
Well, that's exactly right. Like,
couldn't you dig up a bit of swale and put it in the bottom there?
I don't. Like, I can't.
So,
You
I'm
can't.
sorry. That's the second time I've done that.
It's two strikes. It's two strikes. So we're shutting this down.
All right, so let's move on to the lawn, okay? let's really sort of dig into the lawn.
Stu obviously wants us to get to lawn.
It appears that you've already dug into the lawn.
Correct. But thank you, Stu. Currently, the lawn got a mow yesterday. All right. Now,
Okay.
there were two things that happened during this mow. I probably went one level too low, but
Oh no, you've done this before.
but
Don't go low in winter.
I had to. I had to.
You had to.
Well, because basically what I wanted to do was get lop the top off the clover so that I could then spray it and really get in there. So we are. It's looking okay. It's definitely leveled out a bit. I actually took the an enormous stick to the lawn and actually used a big bloody. I can't even. Anyway, I got a big stick and I used it on a green, like on a putting green, and actually fixed up the lawn and sort of
Did the little
pressed it
digging
down.
and
a little bit of digging and a little bit of rearranging of some swale, and we've definitely got a little bit more of a level playing field. There's less divots, there's less truck mark, and so we're moving in the right direction at the moment. I definitely feel more confident about my lawn than I do the last time we spoke about it.
All right. Now, the patch where the skip was.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
It's coming back to life. It's
In the
definitely
middle of
coming back to
winter?
life. Yeah, look, it's
we had a lot of rain. It's been a very wet winter.
that's
has it
right.
not?
So
I suppose. And hang on, your front lawn is kind of west facing. So
It
it'd get
is.
a bit of afternoon sun, I'm guessing.
correct, a little bit of afternoon sun, but it's going okay. I think we're going to be okay. There's definitely a lot of dead grass still floating around, but there is life. Where there once was not, there is. So I'm staying positive. I'm trying to keep positive in this time. And
You're a lawn positive person.
that's right. and I'm really looking forward to a little bit of spring. And, hopefully we can get out of this cold weather. This feels like -3 degrees weather and really get into some, feels like 17 plus weather. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you find some sand before the end of winter so you can get a run out of that fire pit.
I'm hoping so.
Look, there's some good news in that lawn update, I've got to say. There's some positivity coming out. I apologise for my attitude. It won't happen again. This is not what this podcast is about. It's not about bringing anyone down for the sake of, amusing yourself. I apologise.
But what I will say, and here's another little bit of advice. If you want to have a really good time, type like buffalo lawn into your Google search and just find some lawn shops near you and just look at some images of some nice lawn. You were gonna say,
or what about some of that time-lapse stuff where you can watch time-lapse videos of that growing online?
Amazing. That's what I'm doing before I go to bed tonight. That's incredible. Didn't get to there. But
again, one thing I need to bring up is, and it may be important, it may be the end of my tenure on this podcast, is I don't have a lawn.
No, but
so I don't have a lawn.
But
so I've lived vicariously through your lawn care.
But you do have a fire pit, right?
No, I do have a fire pit. Yes.
You're good. You're fine.
Okay.
Does a fire pit equal lawn? Is that what we're saying?
No. But it's definitely you've got a fire pit and you've got a barbecue.
Yeah, and you do kill rats on the regular, so...
Yeah.
No, that's true. That's true. Right.
So...
Okay. Fire pit plus rats...
plus barbecue...
Equals side lawn.
Yeah. Well...
Okay.
Look, you can have my side lawn at the moment. Jeez.
Yeah. I think, and this might be obscure if people don't remember it, but I think the fact that you've had fatbergs in your pipes probably makes up for some lawn deficiencies.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, that might go to court in terms of whether I created the fatbergs or whether I was the discoverer, because were the fatbergs in place when we purchased the property? And I guess some, real estate advice for people out there is, check foundations, check age of structure, maybe a termite check.
Well, check
for fatbergs.
People forget. People get a building inspector, people get a pest inspector. They forget to get a fatberg inspector.
They do. They forget, as always.
If you don't know what a fatberg is, look it up. You'll enjoy it. We wanted to talk a little bit about dads and the sporting exploits of their children, didn't we? We go. Did you want to kick us off there?
Well, I wanted to talk about, like we've all heard about the bad parents and, and the people that sort of take it all a little bit too seriously. But my favourite that I've been privy to, one of my boys he started playing soccer last year, and in his second year this year, before the lockdown, I was able to watch one of the greatest parenting performances, probably a great 2-minute stretch, one of the greatest 2-minute stretches I've seen, where...
On your side or on the opposing side?
No, this was actually on our side.
Okay.
And basically what the parent did was yell at their child, basically said their name probably 15, 20 times. Like, say his name was Tim. It was Tim, different, and basically it just constant. And then poor Tim, who had been trying to concentrate on the game, turns to look at his parent, and the parent says, "No, Tim, watch the ball." And I just think that is top-notch, horrible sports parenting, where you are so unaware of what you're actually doing as a parent that it becomes a slightly humorous story on a well-known podcast.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, see, Wigo and I have been communicating every Saturday because my daughter has just started playing this year as well, playing soccer. And we've been communicating quite a bit about just soccer parents, things they've said. I think, and we go, do you feel the same way? And Stu, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't one of your kids play soccer as well?
Oh, they both do.
They both do?
Yeah, my eldest reckons he's retiring after this season at the ripe old age of 13.
Yep, he's had enough.
Yeah, just, not quite, can't do it anymore for some reason. Yes, but that's right, yes, both are currently involved.
Yep.
So I find that a lot of the hilarity that comes from stupid shit parents shout out to their children seems to be that the parents themselves don't really understand the game. Because they say ridiculous things. And like I said, Wigo and I communicate fairly regularly on a Saturday to see, what are the best things that we've said. We have things like, don't stop, go. That's a good one. Do something. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Just shouting at your child to do something.
Yep.
That's pretty good. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? That's some good advice. That's some good parenting. But one of my favourites that I've heard, and it's a parent whose kid plays on the same team as Noel, they just keep shouting, pick it up, all the time. Pick it up. Come on, pick it up.
To a goalkeeper or not?
No, just to everyone.
Yep.
Everyone.
So pick it
everyone
up
just pick
in,
it up.
in a kind of conceptual sense. Pick up the arrow.
Exactly
as in
right.
like a walk it up, talk it up sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very confusing word choice, but just to say pick it up. And again, like what you find is that these parents are shouting it, and you realise that these children are 9 and 10.
Yes.
They don't understand what you're saying. Are they going to be literal? Do they? Like when the coach was telling my daughter to jockey her player, she came off and she was like, "What does that mean? Why is he telling me to? What is a What's a jockey?" And I said, "If we Google jockey, it's someone who rides a horse." She was like, "Well, I don't know what that means."
Yeah, is there stirrups in the kit bag or?
Yeah, exactly right.
This is a very strange game of soccer.
Yeah, this isn't what I've been watching on TV, but
and I assume that ACT rules are the same as New South Wales rules, where they tell you that as parents you're not allowed to yell out, or you're not supposed to yell out.
What's frowned upon?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything. I mean, I'd love it if it was only the coach is allowed to speak. That would be good. But the parents, I think the real thing is to keep it positive. But most of the time, it's just not helpful. I wouldn't say it's particularly negative. And we might get to this in a moment, but like my eldest plays basketball, and I find the parents in basketball are far more louder, more aggressive, and unable to cope with disappointment than the soccer parents. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
I'll put my hand up.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, my kind of yelling out to my youngest kid has mainly been, my stock phrase is, Dylan, you're playing a game of football.
Yeah.
Reason being that up until probably this year or previous year, he was often easily distracted by a shadow.
Yep.
Or other things kind of happening around, and the ball would be kind of coming to him and at his feet, and he might not even know it's there.
Yep.
That's usually my default piece of advice, is to try and bring him back into the moment and remind him why we're both here on a cold Saturday morning.
Geez, you wouldn't want to have him playing on a Friday night under lights then, would you? He'd have 4 shadows to look at.
Yeah, so little trickier when he's in goals, because obviously there are periods when you can easily get distracted by your shadow because there might not be much happening. But yeah, that's my default piece of advice as a sideline dad.
Yeah.
But the basketball's a bit more hectic, is it?
Yeah, see, the soccer one, the worst thing I've heard a parent say is basically like a sarcastic, like, wow, when a ref makes a mistake, which is pretty appalling, really, when it's 9-year-olds playing and the ref's slightly older than that, basically. like any kind of sarcasm aimed at a referee is pretty bad. I found it interesting. Like the team Noel's in are quite good, and so they won every game until they didn't. And when parents were a delight, but the game that we didn't win was a very clear indication of like, oh, those two parents, they're all right. That's what happens when we lose. Those two parents aren't pleasant. They're going to start shouting at the ref, and maybe saying to the girls, as Wiggo said, I've heard that one too, like, come on, look at the player, don't look at me, look at the player. You're like, okay, what about that? We'll get into how you feel about being a basketball parent too, Wiggo. I found it easier to be a basketball parent than a soccer parent, just because I never really played basketball, and to be honest, I didn't really know the nuances of it apart from watching a lot of basketball.
Right. So you're not sitting there going, you could have done this, you could have done that.
Yeah. So, and I think that's the helpful advice should be just leave it to the coach, even though, like, you know, Violet's coach is 17 or 18 or something like that. But I found that the basketball parents, I don't know if it's more competitive, it's close contact, they seem more frustrated. Basketball parents seem to have more frustration. They seem to like to shout at the refs more. And again, the refs are 14, 15. They shout at the refs more. They get up their kids more if they do something wrong. They shout at the whole team in a I don't know about aggressive, but just it's kind of inappropriate how much they seem to care. Wiggo, do you want to come in with anything you want to share with us, buddy?
I played basketball for quite a long period of time. I was average, but I played for a long period of time, so I knew, like, you sort of know what needs to happen and what doesn't need to happen. And when your 9 or 10-year-old son decides that he wants to play basketball, and you take him to basketball, and he doesn't do those things in his first game, it's really frustrating as a parent. And it's like,
how much home coaching did you do before that first game, though?
Well, absolutely none, Stu. Like, that should just be ingrained into him.
Right, just in the head already. Yeah.
No, so
this genetic code of your experience.
So I realised, probably not quickly enough, to be honest, but I really had absolutely no idea how much of a dickhead I was being, and really put a lot of pressure on my son when all I really wanted him to do was have fun. Like, I really did just want him to have fun, but because I had this want to actually give him information about what was going on the court, I couldn't. In some cases, I just couldn't help myself. And
so let's talk about where that comes from, though. So is that purely, I want my son to feel good because if he plays well, he'll feel good about himself? Or is it something kind of more vague or hard to describe than that in you that says he should be good at this because I was so into it? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I remember when he was playing, and you would, like, we did very little training, right? So he just sort of got thrown into this team of kids that he didn't really know. Like, there were some things that he was just able to pick up, like he was able to shoot the ball pretty well, and you can't teach height, but you can.
Wait, what?
Like, you can teach defensive position, and you can teach, like, court awareness. But I didn't teach him any of that stuff. I just expected him to figure it out. And I thought, I see potential here. I really hope that he's getting the same enjoyment out of playing that I used to. But then when I actually stood back and went, I actually didn't enjoy playing until about 3 years in
Right.
when we were actually really good, and I played with the same team for 3 years, and we were freaking awesome. Like, that doesn't happen 4 games into your first season of basketball, you stupid idiot. So
Yes.
I
nuance,
Yeah.
right? It's the nuance that when you watch it, you're like, oh my God, these kids have no game awareness. They have no spatial
Exactly.
awareness.
What are these kids, idiots?
They don't know whose ball it is when it goes. Like, it's just everything. They're just always waiting for the ref to tell them where to stand and who's got the ball and stuff like that. So I know what you mean with the nuance.
Yeah, that's interesting, though, that you played for 3 years without really enjoying it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, look, I would say I loved playing basketball. I loved it. But when you're winning, that's heaps better.
Yeah.
And when you're actually really good, and we basically played for, we played primary school starting in year 3, and then in year 6 actually got into like the top 8 in the state for primary school because we just all played together, right? We played together with the same team and trained, actually had a proper coach, and we were just really good. But my oldest son hadn't had any of that, and he just kind of went, I was going to play basketball. And I was like, yes, sick, do that. That's going to be great. And then I didn't put any of that time that I got into him. I just sort of went, yeah, it's just going to be sweet. He'll be fine. Look how tall he is.
Yep.
And
Yep.
But I
don't
actually
know they're tall.
But in the end, yeah, exactly. And in the end, I completely take full responsibility from him just going, I don't want to play anymore, because I was.
So he said that.
Yeah, he said that.
How far in?
He played the first season, but he just wasn't enjoying it because I was a dickhead. But my
So what can you be a bit more specific?
Oh, about being a dickhead.
Being a dickhead?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a lot of
Overcoaching.
yes during the game, which is what a stupid time to do that. Like, why was I not just taking him aside and saying, all right, we're going to work on something here called rebounding. I'm just going to throw the ball against the backboard and you're going to go and get it.
Yeah.
That's it. Not trying to tell him like an angle to run when the 9-year-old that's got the ball is dribbling with his head down and can't look at him. You need to be running on the wing there so that he can pass you the ball.
Yeah.
Like, that's just stupid
Now, son,
stuff.
I know we haven't talked about this before and you've got a split second to react, but what you need to be doing here is...
And then you've missed it. And it's like that. Like, I hadn't done any of that. Like, my oldest Jazz, she hadn't played any sport that I was involved with. You know what I mean? And so halves was my first experience as a parent in a sporting sort of situation, because my kids haven't really sort of shown any interest in playing sport up until that point. And it was mainly swimming. And I can yell all I want while they're swimming. They're not going to hear me. So it's...
Now, and if you didn't mind me asking, say so, that's fine. What kind of sideline parent was your dad?
So he'd coached our cricket team for 1 year.
Yeah.
But most of my memories of my dad, and we're going to probably get a little bit deep here because this is something that's sort of, but I'm happy to discuss it.
Which is why I kind of preloaded with. If you don't want to talk about it, fine.
So I really love playing cricket as well, and my dad was quite a good cricketer, and I really enjoyed, as most children do, I would suppose, is when you do really well and your parents are there to watch, it's really quite enjoyable. And I was a fairly average cricketer. I don't know what that average is against, but I was average. And
I think you're being unkind to yourself. Yeah,
you were the wizard.
You did go to England to play cricket.
Well, but again, that's probably overinflating. I didn't go there to play cricket. I just went there to go to England and ended up playing cricket.
Do you mean they called you the wizard, but you're not actually a wizard?
Well,
is that what you mean?
Yeah, it's all a farce. But
okay,
the first time I scored 100, my dad had been sitting up on the hill. So he dropped me off, and then he went and sat up on the hill at Fagan's Park. Now, for those of you that don't know, but you two should know, sitting up on the hill, I opened the batting, got to about 20-odd, looked up, and he'd gone. And then I went on to get 100. And so even when I got 100, I sort of looked up to where he was, hoping that he'd sort of come back. But he missed out. So
hang on, how slow was his first 20 though?
It's dodgy.
Was it-
Dodgy 20.
there was a lot of nicks through slips. So he just thought, I'm not hanging around for this.
Lots of prodding and a poking.
No, there was there were no.
Were the races starting?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So like he didn't get to see me score 100, and then after that, I scored a couple of hundreds in England, where he obviously didn't get to see me score hundreds because he was in Australia. But I'd asked my mum to come and watch on that day, and she couldn't make it. And so when I got home and told her she got 100, it was sort of like, well, obviously neither of my parents are destined to see me score 100. But yeah, the first time that was, that was the memory that stuck with me about my dad watching me play sport, was that he wasn't actually there the time that I did really well.
Right. Well, that's always code, isn't it? My mum always turned up when we got out. It was just stay away. It was the easiest way with her when we played cricket.
Okay.
But I remember my dad was similar. He played a lot of rugby league when he was younger, up to a pretty high level, I think. And I played league when I was younger, and I think I had the similar experience maybe to your son.
Yeah.
You know, where I liked it, but he really liked it.
Yeah.
And so I only played one season, and I was just like, I'm not really into it as much. But when I played cricket, he'd never played cricket before. So, again, he couldn't, say you should be doing this, you should be doing that in the middle of the game like he could with rugby league.
Yep.
So, I don't know. It's hard. I had Noel say to me once, I was trying, after the game on the way home, trying to say, look, you've got to get in there, you've got to be a bit more enthusiastic, you get in, you get out of it what you put into it. And she said, I'm not competitive.
Yep.
I don't like being competitive, or because I think I said, your coach just wants you to be a bit more competitive, and she said, I'm not competitive.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm okay. My brain had to compute, as someone who's always loved sport and is always competitive.
Yep.
Yeah.
My brain had to compute that, and I was like, But that's what Justine's like. She was like, I don't like team sports. I don't like the competitive nature of it. I played tennis. I did swimming. And I was like, But
a lot of what you taught is not necessarily directly said you need to be ultra competitive, but it's all implied, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can completely understand
Like
that.
even the pick it up. Like pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Pick it up.
Like it's like, well, yeah.
It's just like a ska band.
But I can completely understand your daughter just going, well, look, I enjoy going out there. I enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. I don't need to branch out.
She said, look,
further."
I'm not like you. I'm not like you. I'm not competitive. I was like, great. Oh, that's excellent that my daughter said that to me. That makes it very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I won't say anything. I'll just go, okay.
Cool.
Did you
Go
have
and
fun?
enjoy yourself. Now, Stu, you played a bit of league, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like for you?
My parents didn't want me to play. So they didn't really
that
come
didn't
to
help.
the games. Which I find extremely understandable now.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, as a teenager, I was like, what's the problem? What's the problem? I want to play. It's not a problem. Nothing happened. Yeah. Now I'm like, if any, like, thankfully, kids aren't interested in league, but I would be just, no, don't.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, they weren't necessarily into going to the games.
Yeah. So anyway, we certainly got a bit deeper than we thought we were going to. I was just going to tell a story of a dad at basketball who, like, said, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" during the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
And he's
loudly
someone who
across the court.
Yeah, loudly. Yeah, snapped everyone's heads around. And when I said, "Oi, like, no need for swearing," like, he's quite unpleasant to watch a game of sport with. He's always frustrated and shouting unhelpful things and just being like, "Oh, come on!" Like whenever they do something slightly wrong. Again, it's like under 14s Division 4 or something basketball. But yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what do you do when a parent crosses that line? Especially if, like, the refs... Again, the ref is 14, the coach is 17. Like I said, snapped everyone's head around. I actually said, like, I don't want to hear that. That's not appropriate. And he just sort of laughed it off and just kept... I guess the word is chuntering, is that the word? Away through the game.
Oh, I've never heard. Well, I'm going to have to ask you about that after the podcast, Matthew. I don't know. I don't think I've ever experienced someone being like that foul. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there seems to be, with my limited experience, you know, like the basketball thing, I was more just sort of chuntering to myself through the whole... Correct context? Excellent.
The definition is to complain, especially in a low voice.
Ah, okay. Well,
yeah, exactly. Because he'd already sworn under his breath. He's sitting next to me, and he already swore. It stopped himself from shouting it out. And then when he actually shouted it out, it was like, "Oh man, what is up with you?"
Yeah.
Anyway.
Most of the issues that come from, you know, the kids' sport at the moment are, you know, everyone's sort of looking at the coach going, "Why are you playing that kid more than you're playing the other kid?" Rather than anyone that's really... We haven't encountered anyone that is sort of really crossed the line. It's more just been stupid commentary and trying to coach in a really poor manner.
Right.
Whereas, yeah, like that dude, he's obviously really just... Yeah, he's got some other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what the effect is, his daughter just cracks the shits. She, like, will shoot it from, like, a ridiculous shot. She'll, like, overhand pass it just because that's how she copes with her frustration.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, there's a link here between what she's doing on the court and your behaviour, but he's not going to see it.
Yeah.
That's always the thing of, like... Yeah, I prefer, obviously, the soccer parents who call out ridiculous things that make no sense to a child who's running, who stops to query and then has the parent say, "No, don't look at me. Do the thing I said."
That's so good. I love that so much. That really tickles me.
Yeah.
I think
sometimes they run and they look like confused dogs, don't they? Like, what? What do I do?
Yeah, that makes no sense. Jockey?
Jockey.
There was the time, because obviously when you have two kids playing football or a sport or whatever, as parents you alternate each week which game you take the kids to, so that
Right.
not seen to be overly keen on one's sporting career over the other. And I actually missed the week of of one of my kids' soccer games where the dads on the other side were just turned up looking for a reason to try and fight the dads on the other side.
Oh, God.
So they were just calling out horrible things. The kids on their team were just really dirty players, kept slide tackling, hacking legs, all that sort of stuff. And then when the dads on our side arced up, then the dads on their side would start trying to say, like trying to pick them for fights. It was, just ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, it does. That's the only time I wasn't there, but it's the only time that I've ever had anything that was vaguely out of control in terms of sport parenting. I've never had anyone get too sweary or anything with kids. It's just the barracking going, like some over barrackers.
Yeah.
Just go, you can't say it because they've got, they can obviously barrack for their kids, but you go, fucking shut up, fuck. Jesus.
Yes.
They've done nothing. Your kid's done nothing.
That's right.
Why are you still barracking? Anyway.
And that's where sometimes when my son, he loves playing soccer, but he's not great. And so I become an over-barracker when something goes well, when he does something good, it's the best. I was there the day he scored his first goal.
Yeah.
I nearly did a lap of the bloody oval. It was like, it was just so unexpected, and he was just in the right space at the right time and knocked it in. And both my wife and I were there, and I was watching the game, and she was talking to someone else at the time and missed it.
Yay!
Oh dear.
What do you call a former president who, compliments their kids too much on a sporting field? Over Barack Obama. Thank you. Let's
move on.
We got any more? Did we have any more to say about this? I feel like I should exit quickly. It's getting late.
It is getting late.
It is getting late, yes.
Thanks for your support. All right. Well, yes. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Get in contact. Give us any thoughts. You got any bad parenting sports stories we can talk about next time? Do you have any thoughts on sand types for fire pits?
The whiter the better.
Yeah. So yes, please get in contact. We're happy to talk. And I'll thank you once more, Reduced Pants Panel.
Thank you, Stu.
Thank you very much. It's been a delight.
As always.
And a very good evening to everybody.
Oh dear. Wiggins, did you do a lap like the Bobby Portis run that he did in the...
Yeah, with the legs up,
games?
with the knee.
Yeah, knees up.
No,
Jesus.
I did the shirt above the head, waving it around like a madman. Look at
Oh dear.
I probably over-exaggerated, as is my want.
Well, I'm sure
But
if Noel scored a goal, I'm sure I would lose my mind
Yeah.
in some way. Well, I did say to her today, like, it was 5 games left in the season. You looking to score a goal? And she said, how many games of soccer did you play? Like 110?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, something like that. She was like, and how many goals
Oh,
did
did
you
you?
score?
Oh,
Yeah, because I told her that. I said, you don't have to worry about scoring goals. I said, I played heaps. She said, how many goals? 2.
Okay.
Cool. That was great. Great moments. but-
yep.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that she would go and just roundhouse the shit out of the corner flag and the stuff after she...
She'd just be like, fuck yeah.